Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your narrator, Not-So-British-Brit, and in today's narration we have two, because the first one is really short. First off, we have Unified Reaction by u/DuskDawnOwl, and then we have Galactic Warriors Beginnings, Chapter 1 by u/Sci-fi774Roamer. This one I found really hard to do, like the longest one I've ever done, so I hope you enjoy. And on to the narrations. The leash had just gotten to their station at the beginning of their shift, when they received a message, and by the sound of it, so had everyone else. The message: book title ideas. Never learn to ski again. Gonna find a better planet. Give it a pause. You may never be the same again. Up to the skies we go. Read the first word of each title. The reaction from all the humans on board the ship confused many a species, some too scared to ask. End of first narration. Second narration. From space, Zoru looked like a hunk of blue rock. No interesting landmarks to break up the endless flat of Gohu stone. A common blue rock that made up 90% of this dull-looking planet. But once one is landed and actually on the planet itself, they begin to see the beauty and industry of it. Inhabited by people of all races, Zoru was a bustling planet, completely covered in industrial businesses and homes. Its Gohu stone had special attributes. The Zoru people used it to power their machines, it was used as jewelry, and had special healing abilities which helped with medical supplies, and it was used as building material that every building in every house was made from. Risha lived on this planet. It had been her home since she was born. Her parents had been away on a job for the last 2 years. They were mercenaries, and Risha hadn't seen them nor heard from them in that time. Both her parents and herself were humans from Earth on the 706th quadrant. They had moved here from the 321st quadrant to find a better life in mercenary work. Risha had managed to make life work though, since they'd gone, even though she'd missed them sorely. But money wasn't easy to come by in Zoru. Risha had to travel from her home on the outskirts every morning by public transport, which took about an hour to get into the heart of the capital, Pondu, where Risha worked. Then another half an hour to get to her station. She had to travel under the planet's surface via Fluva, a one-man round pod that traveled through the network of tunnels, worming through the planet's inner layers until finally she reached the chambers of Zoru. Zoru was a great battle that happened millennia ago between two of the quadrant's deities. They left quite a mess from the machines and vehicles, and so Zoru cleaned it all up and chucked it down under the planet to be forgotten. Until 5 years ago, when a man called Fletcher discovered these ruins. It is now a hub for scavengers and scrap lords who scavenge them every day. Although Risha could have found a better job, this one provided the best materials and just enough money to go by. She wanted these materials to build a ship of her own, so that when her parents got back, she could join them in their mercenary work. But for now, she needed to get the right equipment. She'd take the parts she needed home, and give the rest to her scrap lord, Destra, who would pay her at the end of the day. They'd barter for hours some days, until Risha was satisfied with the price. Once again, Risha was at the chambers of Zoru, scavenging away, repeating the same cycle every day. For 2 whole years, she was sick of it. She longed for a life of adventure, and boom, crash, bang, clang! A massive noise echoed through the chambers as a massive F-56 flyer collapsed. Risha waited for the dust to clear before moving over to see what happened. Someone had tried to move a joint from its body, and the flyer went tumbling. She spied a pair of legs hanging out from under the rubble, and rushed over to help the person. As she grabbed the person's legs, though, they disappeared, leaving Risha holding a pair of brown leather trousers. Must have been one of those new aliens, Risha thought. They were aliens that only showed up on Zoru a month ago, and whenever they died, their bodies completely vanished. Risha carried on working until the day reached its end. She took the Fluva back up to the streets of Zoru. Nighttime was the busiest time of the day. Zoru's 2 bright moons always shone down on the blue planet, lighting everything, and making it look as if it were day. Risha slung her pack over her green overalls. She walked into Pondu's central business sector. This was the sector where everyone who worked, lived, and did their business. Risha walked with her head down low. She didn't want to get into any trouble with some of the more rambunctious species in this sector. She passed a tall, yellow-skinned quebec, a short, wrinkly prug, a bulky spurt, and a three-eyed sprog, as well as a few castanas, and many humans. Risha ignored all of these strange aliens, though, and briskly walked through the well-lit streets. Almost no vehicles were out at this time. Everyone hogged the roads. Risha strode up to a vendor on the side of a road with a well-fortified stall. It had an automatic wind-up window, a tall Gohu door, and 1,000 locks on it. The owner, a green-skinned, athletic-built Frafin, poked its single eye out a hole in the window. "Weeble wanga chunga," he spoke in his alien tongue. "Yes, it's me. Who else comes to your stupid stand, Grad?" Risha snapped. Grad growled, and his eye disappeared. The window rolled up, and Grad stared at Risha. "Well," he said in English. Risha slammed her dad's materials on the bench. 50 kasha, no more, no less," she stated, and growled again. 20 kasha, Risha sighed. "How many times do we stand here for hours a night when we could just cut to my price straight away, instead of wasting time? The amount of times I've had to smell your rotting breath makes me want to gag at the thought. I said 50. 50 is what I'll get." Risha didn't really expect Grad to agree to anywhere near this price, so it came as a surprise to her when Grad pulled out a metal container, typed 45 in it, and chucked it on the counter. "Take it or leave it," he growled again, flicking a switch that rolled down the window. Risha picked up the container, put it in her pack, and walked off, a smile on her lips. For once, she had a free night. As she wandered home, Risha thought about Grad's sudden disliking to their evening barters. He usually loved trying to pick a price with her, but tonight he was desperate for her to leave. Why? Did he just realize that it's never worked out for him? Or was there a different reason? Risha was puzzled. So deep in thought was she, that she didn't see where she was walking, and bumped into someone. She looked up, inhaling sharply. A dark-haired human man fell from the collision, sprawled on the ground beneath her, unconscious. "Oh my goodness!" she muttered, and knelt down beside the man. "Are you okay? Come on, say something!" No movement came, nor any noise. She waited a minute before deciding to call the emergency responders. She got out her communicator, only to put it back in her pack when the man started groaning. He opened his eyes and looked at Risha. "You were in a bit of a hurry there, ma'am," he whispered as he regained his breath. "Are you okay?" Risha asked. "Yes, just a bit of a sore back, but I'll be fine. Help me up," he asked, holding his hand out. "Sure." She grabbed his hand and pulled him up. "What's your name?" Risha asked. "Brant," he replied. "I'm Risha. I'm so sorry about that." Brant stretched his back. "Where were you going, Risha?" Brant stopped to look at her, his deep blue eyes piercing through hers. I'm going home." She stumbled. "Oh, why the rush?" "Well, it's the first night in ages I have off, so I was wanting to make the most of it." "Oh, well, I won't hold you up then." Brant reached out his hand. "A pleasure to meet you." "Not under the best of circumstances, but a pleasure all the same." Richard took his hand, and a firm handshake followed. "If you're ever in the 18th quadrant, be sure to look me up. We can have a brew together." "Wait, the 18th?" Risha exclaimed. "They have the best, coolest special agent force ever! And the best brewery, too. Whoa, you live there?" "Yes, I'm from the Krillic sector." "Oh!" Risha remembered hearing about the famous Krillic sector of 18th quadrant. It was very posh, and not much was known about. Its planets kept themselves to themselves. "Cool. All right, I'd better be going. But it was nice." Brandt's last remark was cut off by a loud explosion that rippled through the entire capital. The ground shook underneath them, and Risha felt herself lose her balance. She watched as everyone around her fell over and screamed. The ground was still shaking, but Risha was able to regain some sort of balance. Looking up, she saw the massive capital tower, housing Pondu's politicians, on fire and crumbling to the ground. She didn't have much time to wonder how in the world the inflammable Gorhu stone was burning, because she fell over again, banging her head on the dark Gorhu concrete, her head throbbing. She tried standing again, looking around. People were still on the ground. Everything was still shaking, and there was no sign of Brand. She fell over again, fatigue gave way, and the world went black.